Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our special distinguished guests, as well as our audience around the world, actually. As you're all aware, the AI portfolio has the potential to revolutionize healthcare, precision medicine, pharmaceutical industry, and the broader life sciences industry. Over recent months, we've noticed that generative AI has certainly attracted a lot of attention, enticing governments, boards, C-suites, data scientists, and society at large to engage in active conversations. I would venture to say it has caused the great generative AI divide, because now on almost every channel that you see, you at least see one conversation, and opinions are certainly greatly divided. So we've had a lot of requests from numerous audience members around the world in many of the groups I'm in to have trustworthy data and trustworthy opinions, because people are confused. They're flooded by social media and other venues opinions, and they would like us to have speakers like you today that are not only very trustworthy, but also immersed in AI. They're not just reading and talking about AI. They have actually been doing it for many years and are doing it still today, and are going to talk about practical applications, not just theoretical and hypothetical applications. So that's our goal today, to share with our audience some of the latest trends, challenges that are real, opportunities we have to deploy AI in a trustworthy, responsible, ethical way, and use the tools that we have to really advance science. So all of you, I know you very well, and I'm excited to hear about all your opinions, and I'm sure our audience as well. So to begin, please allow me to briefly introduce highlights of our speakers' bios, because as I always like to joke, if I would read all their bios, the whole event would be over. So I'm going to just share brief highlights. Dr. Prasum Mishra is a leading life science technology and healthcare thought leader and an impact investor. He is founding partner of the Global Sustainability Impact Fund, founding chair of WISE, and founding chair of M7 Accelerator. He's also the founding president and CEO of American Association for Precision Medicine. He serves as chairman of the board of directors at WISE and at UCSF Health Hub. Additionally, he's the founding director of Agility Pharmaceuticals and co-founder of Precision Biopharma. During his distinguished career, he served as in numerous leadership roles in several pharma giant companies such as Genentech, Roche, and many others, as well as several government agencies, NIH, NCI, and US government-related and affiliated organizations. He also serves on the executive team of the Global Fund for Sustainable Development, the United Nations SDG Implementation Program. He also is an advisor of the private equity firms and a few venture capital firms, as well as on the board of University of California Health Hub, as I mentioned. Thank you for joining us, and a privilege to have you here today.
Thank you, Dr. Ingrid. Yeah, great to be here, actually, and I'm looking forward to an amazing discussion.
Thank you. And now allow me to introduce Yamina Hakem. She's an esteemed executive with over 3 decades of experience in international business development and information technology in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. As the founder and CEO of Global Reach BI, a consulting company dedicated to strategic intelligence, she has harnessed AI technology to provide client partners with strategic data-driven insights. These insights have accelerated and honed decision-making processes in the development and market launch of novel patient treatments. This innovation has propelled Global Reach BI to the forefront of the pharmaceutical life sciences industries. Prior to founding Global Reach BI, Yamina had an illustrious career at Thomson Reuters, where she held several key leadership positions. As a member of the board of directors at Pharma, a prominent computational drug discovery company, and as a member of the Les Conseillers du Commerce Extérieur de la France, she provides expert guidance on international trade and economic development, making significant contributions to the advancement of the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. Thank you, Yamina, for joining us. I'm excited to hear what you've been working on lately with all the pharma leaders. I know you have a lot of things in the pipeline.
Thank you very much. Yes, I will explain all that. Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
And then our last guest, but not least, Dr. Carlos Bustamante. He's a globally renowned scientist, executive, and academic. His passion is accelerating genomic discoveries in understudied human populations. He's the founder and CEO of Galatea Bio, a cutting-edge company leveraging genomics and data science to drive precision health at scale for all. While his team has initially focused on understudied populations from the Americas, including African and African American, Hispanic, Latino, and indigenous populations, this next phase will expand this amazing effort to all populations. He has led teams at the interface of genomics, data science, and global health at Cornell and Stanford, as well as the private sector. Aside from running Bustamante Lab and Galatea Bio, he co-founded the Stanford Center for Computational, Evolutionary, and Human Genomics, and he was the inaugural chair of the Department of Biomedical Data Science at Stanford Medicine. He taught at the University of Miami since 2017, and we never met there, but we're meeting now virtually, and has worked with entrepreneurship and technology groups at the University of Miami Herbert Business School. Since 2019, he has also been a venture partner at F Prime Capital, where he initially incubated Galatea Bio. As you can see, none of our speakers ever sleeps, and I'm really excited to hear what they have to say. I really would like to dive into the first question. We'll follow the same order, Prasum, then Yamina, then Carlos. What AI trends are you witnessing in your field? You're also at the intersection, as we highlighted to our speakers, of numerous ecosystems. So please share your trusted opinion with our audience today.
Yeah, I think we all have, like you mentioned, Dr. Ingrid, that with Chat GPT advent, we are seeing a lot of hype, and as well as a lot of talks on role of AI actually. But in our field, in pharmaceutical field, for example, just in drug discovery and development, AI has been implemented for quite some time now actually, from various identifying a molecule to studying a biology of a disease, right? Actually, by integrating various data sets, actually, to analyzing large sets of data from phenotypic screens, actually, and to coming to finally actually trying to find what molecules will inhibit those targets actually. So AI has been implemented in different different areas actually, and so this is a simplified version, but when I say AI, it's basically deep learning, deep learning actually that has been utilized. I think I have also seen image analytics now. A majority of hospitals have some kind of image analytics engine and radiology, as well as in other areas actually. AI has been implemented very successfully, and now moving to trials, actually clinical trials. We have some, there is a great opportunity. There are some solutions that are coming up. There is not a great implementation, but clinical trials present another great opportunity to make a difference utilizing AI. So yeah, so these are a few areas that I'm interested in the from discovery to the trials.
Thank you. And Yamina, when you work with all the boards and all the partners, what do you see? Is there any change in normal daily life in the pharma industry, or has it shifted?
Totally, it has shifted, and especially when you think that the pharma and healthcare industry is very much highly data-driven industry. So it's very important to make sure that the drugs that we are developing, the treatments that we are developing, are safe and secure for our patients. So we need a lot of validation, we need a lot of data. And really at the core of it is, and certainly something that has been at the core of my career and business, is this data accuracy. So that's really, really key. What we are seeing is, yes, this industry is very much data-driven. It was slow at the beginning to integrate AI technologies, because it's complex, we are dealing with the human body, with the biology. So it was difficult to start with compared to other industries, but now certainly, most certainly, tools are here to enable early drug discovery, computational chemistry, to enable patient selection, to enable data visualization with radios. So the tools are here, are starting to be implemented in diagnostics. There are some diagnostic tools that are FDA approved using AI tech, but it's still slow in the therapeutics. And as much as the pharma, I would say, were trying to get into it, the easy solution and the shift that has happened over the last few years is very much the partnerships with the tech. So pharma is not doing that on their own. They are looking at partnerships with the big tech to see how they can leverage their expertise and integrate their knowledge. So yes, it is happening, and it is happening now much faster. And certainly the implementation of the generative AI is going to change that immensely. So I'm going to pause there, and I will explain later maybe why and how it can generative AI is going to impact.
Thank you. Carlos, what do you see? You are in yet another ecosystem, but I'm sure you've observed some changes as well over the last few months.
Yeah, so first, thank you for putting together this very exciting and timely panel. So there are a couple of areas where specifically actually generative AI has been moving the needle for us. So we have a process by which we extract and sequence DNA from residual materials. So one of the things we've done to accelerate the enrollment of diverse peoples in these kinds of genetic studies is literally work off of discarded COVID testing materials. So it's a humble sample, but because everyone pretty much got tested for COVID, and COVID wove its way into many parts of the U.S. healthcare system, it was actually an ample source of material for us. So we biobanked hundreds of thousands of samples ourselves, and then have access to millions of bank samples. And one of the things that we've been able to do is link that material to people's health record data as a way to make these kind of models of what genes are associated with what outcomes. But one big open question is what is the null distribution, right? So as a statistical geneticist, it's not just about getting to a test statistic, but rather, are you comparing that test statistic to the right distribution? And so now generative AI has actually come to the forefront as one of the tools that we're using, both to simulate genomes. So we can actually, we have a kind of rudimentary chat GPT for genomes, but then also health record data. So we can synthesize what would a patient that comes in with a particular condition look like as they careen through the healthcare system, and then compare that to real data. And that's turned out to be quite an accelerant for us. So we too are interested in getting to drug target leads that could be valuable. But again, you often have small numbers. So how often is it expected to find a patient with a particular mutation in a particular set of genes? Until recently, you didn't have much to hang on. Now you can actually get to reasonably good simulated data. It's not perfect, but now there's Chat GPT. And the point is that it helps you really truth your models, and from there expand into interesting inferences that even a year ago just wouldn't have been on the table. So
Great. And I can share just, I really appreciate all your comments. I can share what I've noticed over the last few months are three things. One is before it was like pulling teeth. No one wanted to deploy AI. We couldn't leverage all the potential. Now it's fear of missing out. And I feel many organizations are rushing too fast without the appropriate guardrails. So we had before a problem of being reluctant and not wanting to deploy. Now I see too many are eager to deploy, but do not have the resources or the willingness to dedicate everything that's necessary to deploy it appropriately. So that leads me to my second question. What challenges do you see and what challenges do you think leaders will have to overcome? And maybe you can also offer some opinion on what others see as solutions, for instance, using synthetic data sets, digital twins, other types of AI, not just generative AI, such as cognitive AI or semantic web analysis. So touch a little bit on what challenges do you see once things settle a little bit, let's say. So I don't know, Prasum, are you back? Can you talk?
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah, I think, with AI, the challenge always has been the, training data sets actually. So it's, I think, in a layman's term, garbage in, garbage out, which is, so what you train your AI on, the AI will, the outputs will be, directly proportional to that. So one of the challenges in the AI, and whatever field you are in actually has been access to data sets, kosher data sets that will train your AI, adequately so that now it can start analyzing while ingesting more data sets actually. So that's, I think, in our field, that's why when we are working on, we try to make sure that the initial data set that we train the AI on is very kosher. The experiments are done in very tightly way, and the data is curated, collected and curated in a manner that we would like our AI to be be trained on actually. So this is one of the challenges, and it will stay on. And the other challenges, I think, it more like a conceptual challenge, like humans adapting to AI and how it will affect the human behavior in response to as we work with AI actually. So yeah, I will leave it up to there actually. Yeah, and see what other speakers have to say.
Thank you. Yamina, I know you spend most of your days trying to help leaders overcome the challenges. So can you share what your company is doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to certainly agree with the previous comments, garbage in, garbage out. So that's really, really important. And this has been really important in strategic intelligence. In any of our analysis that we do at Global Reach BI, we have to make sure that we triple check our sources. So sources of information are key when you're doing generative AI. And again, I'm reiterating the fact that data accuracy is a key element before you can actually have a model that works perfectly well. So you can have a model that works perfectly well, but if you train it on some data that are not relevant, you're not going to have the right information or the right conclusions. And then what's going to be happening is that you're going to lose that impact and the interest of your internal C-suite who is going to be needing this information. So that's really, really important. The second thing is that, again, when you are talking to a C-suite and you are talking about challenges that you are facing and what is going to be speaking to them is understanding what is going to be the return on investment, more than the details of how it's going to work, what kind of also data you're going to be using. Is you are going to be investing time, you are going to be investing resources, and actually, do you have those resources internally to make it work? That's really important also, because now everybody's fighting for the right data scientists to actually work on that. So you're going to be investing time, resources, obviously money. What's the ROI for the business? How long is it going to take? Is it Is it something that we can afford? So that there's a lot of reassurance analysis that needs to be happening so that it's a business at the end of the day. How can it improve and make our processes leaner, clearer, help us take the right decisions? At the end of the day, we are here to bring the business forward. How is that going to help us? And it's very important that to stop, to enhance and correct those challenges. One solution, and I'm going straight into the solution, but it is to start with a proof of concept, with a small project that you can actually work with your management to show that it can enable the business to move forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Yamina. Carlos, what challenges do you foresee, particularly as we are at the cusp of transitioning to a more personalized medicine and precision health approach compared to the general population health also? So.
Yeah, so two, if not three challenges. So the first on the sort of technical challenge side, to build on the theme of garbage in, garbage out. We don't have the right infrastructure yet, I would say, to train these kinds of large scale models on genetic data. Genetic data is like super fragmented. Healthcare data is fragmented, and so there are a couple of big collections, but it's not, there's no ImageNet for genetic data yet. And there's a good reason for that, right? People don't necessarily want to aggregate all the genetic data in one place. It's a vulnerability. It's, it's not for want of trying or lack of solutions. I think there's just a lot of hesitancy to actually build big genetic data collections. 23andMe's probably built one of the largest ones, and they spend a lot of time on security and making sure that it's done in the right way. So we need to kind of figure out a path forward there, and it won't surprise you that all the big cloud providers are interested in this problem too. So Google's got a solution, AWS has a solution. I'm not sure about Azure, but I'm sure they will soon. So I think that is coming, although it's not here yet. So I think the second one, which is more subtle, but maybe more pernicious, and this is just a general problem with these kinds of models, is biases in the data, right? So we know that the bulk of the data that has been collected in European healthcare systems on European individuals. So there's two issues there. One is that it leaves out a lot of humanity, right? Not everybody's European, not every, it's not relevant to, we need to look at not just at Europeans, we need to look at the rest of the world, full stop. And then secondly, even if you were just to take the US healthcare context and say, fine, like, let's just try to do this in the US and aggregate US data. The US healthcare system operates in a different way than most other healthcare systems. It's incentivized in a different way. And so when you try to model outcomes and what leads to outcomes, you're going to make different decisions. And so, all of these subtleties end up making it hard to build generative AI models. So I feel reasonably confident that I can simulate a genome for an individual, given some information about where their parents came from and their ancestry and so on. Modeling their phenotype is a much harder problem, and then modeling their medical phenotype is a particularly difficult problem. And so all of those mean that we don't know how to truth these models well, and so I worry that just kind of unleashing this without the proper guardrails is just going to replicate what are already biases that we know about. Minority groups getting worse care, poor people getting worse care, and so you're just going to re-simulate that and make that part of an inevitable part of the system. So that does concern me.
Yeah, we just exponentially increase the speed and the scale of the biases that we had
Right.
before.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Much more succinct.
And I really appreciate, again, the insights, and I can share, again, I get about 10, 12 calls per week. Companies want to deploy, but I'm worried also about everything all of you mentioned. I would add also the cybersecurity threats, the chaos right now. Everybody tries to deploy a new technology way too fast. And those interoperability challenges that they have, and those, let's say, lack of guardrails that they have right now between their various technology teams, I think are opening up tremendous loopholes for those malicious actors that might have cyber attacks in mind. The second one, I think you alluded to a little bit already, is KPIs and metrics. I think everybody, again, rushes to deploy like we've seen with other frontier technologies and emerging technologies, but they don't think about, okay, how are we going to measure not only ROI, but also impact? Are we really getting what we wanted? And then just to all three of you mentioned garbage in, garbage out. I would also caution, you can have amazing quality data in, but still garbage out if you don't have a team that knows what to do with the output, which I've seen also. So even with amazing quality data sets that were validated, you still need a human in the loop at the end of the output, which a lot of companies forget. So again, now we're going into the last round of insights from you. I would love to hear what all of you recommend. If, let's say, I was the CEO of a company and say, I have the checkbook ready, tell me what to do, what would you? Which has happened actually recently. The chairman of Goldman Sachs at a meeting said, I have a checkbook, bring me good solutions. So let's pretend the same thing happens to you. Prasum, what would you recommend to a board if they want to do everything right, if they want to be at the cusp of precision health, incorporate all the data that we have in the right way, what would you recommend to them?
Yeah, I think I would recommend, if you have a checkbook, right? I think it's basically have an internal AI team or a champions actually, that evaluate various solutions that are available for your particular need, right? Actually, depending upon what areas you would like to. There are good solutions, but there are some solutions that still are very early stage that needs to be trained, and then maybe you can partner with them to feed the AI with the data that you would like to be trained, so that it can adapt to your needs actually. So I think that's what I would suggest. There are several solutions out there, but I think you need an internal team to try to see which one would be a good fit. I would try to create a it's a regular process, right? Based on your need, you see the demos and try to identify like top 3 and start utilizing, say, top 1, and then if you are satisfied, go with it, and if not, then move forward. And then in the other case, I would also say that if you have a very unique scenario, if you're working and you need your own internal AI team, and you have a checkbook to hire them, go ahead and get the team ready and get your AI, get your AI team build a custom solution for you actually. So this is not a rocket science. Very these processes are very well established actually. And lastly, again, get all the data that's needed for the AI to be trained actually, and also work on the security measures actually. So when it comes to healthcare, right, generative AI, when we have a chat GPT which is trained on our in text inputs, but now we are talking about health, so I think this is a different ball game. So we think about this safety, security, HIPAA compliance, other things that you need to incorporate in that workflow. So that's 2 cents from me. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a frequent question we get, but there are many companies who don't have an internal team. So then their challenge is, how do they select the right AI partner? And also, how do they decide how to measure which partner is right for them, or what their internal feasibility is from a resource perspective and AI tools perspective, because sometimes they don't even have all the resources. So that's also a challenge. Yamina, what do you see when companies engage you and want to talk? Do they ask you if they should outsource, if they should merge with someone, or if they should build their own? What do you see?
I mean, I can give certainly my feedback from my experience, because we've implemented AI. And if you've got your checkbook ready, definitely I would ask you to sign for the Spring platform that we've developed. That's one of the best one in the industry, in the life science strategic intelligence industry. And the reason behind that, and how we developed it over the years, is very much embracing the technology and facilitating the work of our clients. The thing is, when we started, and what I would recommend to anybody starting in this process, is to have, what is the problem you are trying to solve? What is your business objective? And you have to clearly define that. And for us, it was very well and defined by our client, talking to our clients, understanding what was their pain point, and then see, okay, what can we do to help you using tech? And to be honest with you, we have achieved it, but certainly what I've learned along the process is that it's not an easy path, and it's not a straight path. There's lots of ups and downs in this process of implementing AI, because you encounter technical problems, you are solving them, then it's happy times, then it's another problem that you are identifying. So when you are starting with this process, it's not a short term, it's a long term. So that's really, really important. And the thing that I've learned also in developing Spring platform is that the staff is extremely important. Having the right capabilities in-house to support the development is key. And you have to have people who are really talented, but also who will be looking outside of the box for the solution. So having the right people is key. We have got the data because we have been managing scientific and commercial data all the time. That's what we do every day. But, and I'm going to echo what was just said, is that, yes, you can have amazing data. Yes, you can have the right tool, but certainly having the right person at the end of the day to make the most of it is important. And that's why, I mean, here, the solution that we have implemented and the solutions that any company is going to be implementing using traditional AI or generative AI is basically here not to replace the human, but amplify that. I mean, enhance their capabilities. So I would say for anybody starting this process, start small. It's for the long run, be patient with it. And it's going to enhance your internal processes immensely. And we are now at the stage where we are integrating generative AI into the Spring platform. I can't give you too much information about that because it's still in development, but certainly it's exciting. It's the next wave, and you have to embrace it if you want to remain competitive. I mean, certainly AI is not going to replace everybody, but certainly the people who embrace AI are going to replace the people who aren't, if you see what I'm saying. And I'm going to conclude with that.
Great, thank you. Carlos, what do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a, do you want to overpay? Do you want to get ahead of competitors? What's the strategic goal that you're trying to achieve here? So building data businesses is ridiculously expensive. I mean, it just is. And building data mining businesses is even more expensive because you got to build the data business piece first and then compete for the limited number of people who, you know, are at the top of the game, if that's what you're trying to do right now. I would say that I mean, that's, I'd have to start with that question before I could recommend how to put the money to good use. But I would say the second piece of this is to be, and I just echoing my colleagues' comments, you have to be very realistic about what to expect. And so, you know, the old adage we used to say, you know, a few hours in the library, you know, will save you 6 months in the lab, right? You know, spend some time with the existing tools, figure out where they go wrong on things that you know, and then expect that and worse to happen in the things that you don't know and haven't been deployed. So, you know, like Chat GPT hallucinates. So when you ask it questions, you know, about history or background or blah, 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 it'll make stuff up. It lies all the time, right? So you would expect that to happen when you tell it, give me, you know, 10 different molecules that can drug this particular pocket of some GCPR, you know, GPCR, like it's going to make that up. And so you're going to have to, you know, do experiments anyway to figure that out. And to your point about scaling out garbage in, garbage out, like you could end up with 100 molecules now to test as opposed to 10 molecules that could have come out of something else, and one molecule that would have been the most logical one based on, you know, some animal data or something. So you can absolutely burn a pile of cash doing this business. But all that being said, I completely agree, right? It's sort of like sitting at, you know, some brick and mortar business in the late 90s and wondering, oh, you know, I wonder if I should set up a website and go into this funny internet retail. It's like, yeah, if you don't, you're going to get run over. But just because you set up a website doesn't mean you're Amazon, right? You know, and you're selling, you know, so the technology has to be solving some really critical business need for you to deploy cash on it. And don't worry, like you'll spend plenty of money on AI in the future. So start small, scale the experiments that work, and then, you know, it'll come at the cost of something else. So what else are you willing to give up in order to get that AI thing that you're excited about now?
Thank you. So for our audience that maybe joined a little late and didn't catch all of your concerns and recommendations, I'll try to summarize. So all of you agree that careful use case is critical, that you cannot just take other people's use cases and hope that you can translate them and transplant them to your company. Second, careful analysis of your internal resources, and that means human capital, cash, availability, or ability to deploy because of other competing interests within the organization. Careful selection of the AI tools, making sure that even if you outsource or merge with someone, you still have the support team. And all of you, of course, emphasize the critical need of data validation, data accuracy, the human in the loop to assess not only what goes in, but also when it comes out. And then I had also briefly mentioned ethics and cyber and KPIs, which I hope people don't forget. The one thing, because we used a little joke with the garbage in, garbage out, I also like to sometimes emphasize to people that deploying AI in healthcare and life sciences and pharma is not just like buying a smartphone. You come home, you plug it in, and you can use it. And that's unfortunately a lot of the perception that a lot of companies have, that if they just write a check, they can buy a tool that they can just plug in and be ready to go. And I think all of you illustrated very clearly that that's not possible. And there's a long process and a lot of iterative ongoing quality improvement. It never ends. When you deploy AI, you're never done. So I think that's the part that we want to convey to a lot of members of our audience that are wondering what they should do. But I think it seems all of you also agree that AI is here to stay. It will not go anywhere. It's not just a trend like other trends that have been. So to end, I would love to have, if you can do a quick round robin, if you had your wish come true, where would you deploy AI? If resources were not possible, in what little niche domain within precision medicine or pharma or the healthcare and life sciences? Let's do one more quick round.
Yeah, I think that's and you summarize very well, Dr. Ingrid. I think if I have an opportunity, I think I would utilize AI in all its on all its very all its forms actually to drive a patient-centric vision of patient-centric healthcare forward, actually, where we are also so when it comes to health, actually we have to also see, so we all talk about security, we all talk about data safety and all that, but I think in health, actually, most of the time, so I'm a cancer researcher, and what I see is the patients coming into the hospitals, actually they're at a they have only few months to live. So for them, actually, and I have had a discussion with them, and to see that what privacy over care, and then they always say that we choose care because if I die tomorrow, my whole data, my privacy, it's basically it disappears with me. So I think I would just bring this point, this perspective, patient's perspective, to the table as well, to see. So AI, I think in concluding thoughts, AI is a tool actually that will help us like any other tool. Actually, it will help us, like we do our taxes, right? We have now AI tools that help us do our taxes, but has this it has helped us not from putting forms in front of our table to take care of it, to now we have evolved. So I think we will evolve with AI actually, but I think that's my vision. If you ask me one thing, I'll try to push forward the vision of precision medicine and patient-centric research, actually, in collaboration with wearables, diagnostics, and personalized therapeutics, actually, to make that dream come true and bring the drugs to the market more. So not to basically funnel pipeline effect, but kind of open the funnel up, and then now patients have access to more more curative regimes, actually, and then approval and bringing to market is not an issue anymore, actually. So that's my vision of the future, and let's hope that comes true in next 5 years, actually. Thank you.
That's the reason why I left academia, for the reason you said now, wanting to compress the timeline. But thank you so much for your sharing your wish come true. Yamina, if you had the opportunity, what's your wish to deploy AI?
If we could shorten that pipeline development, that drug development timeframe, it would be amazing. Obviously, as a business, to reduce the cost and of that development, that's for sure. Ensure safety, efficacy very early on. But as it just been said, integrating patients early in the process of development. I mean, for us, again, I'm only speaking from experience. We do have a lot of scientific data. We do have a lot of commercial data, as we were saying. But if we bring patients focus early on in the process, how can we integrate these patients' data to enable that development quicker and to facilitate, again, this personalized medicine objective that we have? So that's something that I know that some big pharma companies are doing in terms of having a patient focus earlier in the process to facilitate and enable quicker drug development. I think that Now, with the tools that we have, the ability to manage all this data, it's going to be easier. So let's see what the future brings to us.
Thank you. Carlos, your wish come true?
Yeah,
I think
so-
I know, but let's see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we should be running a little demon every night on the hospital data and prioritizing who to test in the right way. You know, so as people are coming through and you're learning more about their health needs and presentations, you have more and more data about who's eligible for prioritizing the sequencing, right? Like you can't sequence everybody. And even if you did sequence everybody, you wouldn't be able to, man, it's not the cost of the sequencing, it's the cost of the healthcare integration. So what keeps me up at night is that there are many women who should be getting breast cancer screening based on family history. There are many men who should be getting prostate cancer screening. There are many people who should start you know, if not colonoscopies, doing Cologuard or the equivalent earlier, right? So all of that really does save lives, prevent heartache down the future. So how do we deploy that? It's going to be a little demon that runs in the background that is properly truthed and is able to really get people to the right care faster than when they have a heart attack or stroke and show up at the clinic.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thank you so much. If I had my wish come true, I spent 6 years trying to convince many to do it in babies and pregnant moms, because I feel that's the beginning. And if we're able to address things early on, we can save a lot of painful journey after that for the healthcare ecosystem, from a cost and time perspective, but also for the families that are suffering. So I've been an advocate of prenatal and neonatal genomics as well, and in personalized medicine at that stage already. So let's see. I also hope in our next session we can talk a little bit more about digital twins and synthetic data sets, because I think that would complement our efforts and augment our current data sets, or help us at least do the validation, so that we can get a faster impact and augmented impact. Thank you again for all of you. I'll take a picture with also, if you can smile. That's good, because we're all sometimes when we're talking about these important issues, we forget to smile a little bit. So thank you for joining us. Thank you to our audience. And we're gonna have the recording shared on social media for all those that registered, expressed their interest, but could not join us today. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Great session. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.